Okay, my name is John. My middle name is Alexander Costello. Typically, probably my Costellos have evolved in Greenport. They came out with the railroad. They were Irish immigrants, and their grandparents were Irish immigrants. When the railroad came into Greenport in the 1850s, three brothers, George, John, and Edward. The Irish do not change names. That's probably every generation has got the same names. My father dove into the genealogy of the family. He was so proud to be an Irishman, an immigrant, that he was a lawyer, and successful. And his father was extremely successful, worked on the railroad. And my mother and my father had 7 children, of which I'm the middle one. And there was 3 girls before me, and there was 2 brothers and a daughter after me. So good old Catholics, And they believe. My mother was a Lutheran from Germany, and her family was here. And her family were all nautical, worked on the water, baymen, bootleggers, boat builders. They owned a shipyard in Greenport. Being surrounded by water, you have, there was no roads to speak of. And the transportation was by water. If you wanted lumber, you went by water and got it from other Canada, or Nova Scotia, New England, Maine, and they brought it into. There was no riverhead building supply. It all came via the water. So the natural progression was, if you're going to work, you were involved with the water. There was no other opportunity. You want to eat, feed, fish was the easiest way. Crabbing, oystering, scalloping. God almighty, I can't remember how old I was when I either opening scallops or scalloping. Got a little boat and went out scalloping to try to make a few dollars. And I loved, I don't work, I just play. And so when I was scalloping, I was playing out on the water. I was crabbing when I was a young kid, and I was selling blue crabs, 6 for, I think it was 25 cents. And you just go get your customers that would buy them and go sell them. And then it got into clamming, same thing, clam. You needed a little extra money, sell the clams. And being surrounded by water, all these little creeks and bays, the sound, learned how to swim I learned how to swim in the bay. And the entertainment for a family out here was swimming. In the summertime, you go swimming. And that was the recreation that we had was so minimal. One of the biggest recreational things I've ever done in my life, and I still recollect it as being one of the most fun, is climbing a tree. My tree. And my limb, that's where I hung out. And besides that, going down to see my grandmother who lived near the water, to go crabbing, picking blackberries on the railroad tracks. I used to walk the railroad tracks with my sister and I. That's my sister Pat up on the wall, and myself, walk the railroad tracks, pick the blackberries, probably eat 3/4 of them, and try to sell what was remaining to get 25 cents or a dime. I remember the oyster business being so prosperous. The Toners, Ellsworth, and whatnot, They had a seaplane, and I knew I wasn't in school, and they would take kids up for a ride in the Grumman Goose seaplane. And they had hydroplane races in Greenport. Very few people, well, the older people will know, but the hydroplane races in Greenport were big. Guy Lombardo's boat was here, Miss Budweiser, and they raced in Pipes Cove. And I remember that I was in a stroller type. My sister was walking me down there. I could walk for a while. I'd get back in the stroller, you know, looking for a taxi cab, Rob. And went down to the hydroplane races, sponsored by the successful oyster companies. I spent many a day swimming underneath the railroad dock, playing tag with a lot of young men in Greenport, playing down there. When the ferry came in, we would run up. The ferry only came in when the trains were coming into Greenport. At the end of 3rd Street, there was only a small slip. The main slip was adjacent to Claudio's dock and S.T. Preston's in Greenport. That was the main ferry company to Shelter Island. But when the train was to be met, they would come to the end of 3rd Street. Well, being a young kid enterprising to make money, we would run up and try to carry bags from the train to the ferry. And occasionally you'd get somebody to pay you almost a quarter to carry a couple of bags. Boy, were we well-to-do then. I have one daughter who's in the business with me, and my son is in the business with me. My son is probably the best dock builder, probably the best dock builder on Long Island. We have a little on the too much business, and the unfortunate part about it is my 50% partner, my brother George David, passed away on the job working. And he was on the water his whole life. He was a tugboat operator, captain of a boat, and he had his captain's license. He was the American Legion Hall skating rink. It was one of his projects that he undertook. They dedicated the skating rink, the roller skating rink portion, to my brother. And it was a nice dedication, and it was deserving of him. So we're still here. The Legion Hall is about 50 feet from the water. Enjoyed fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but I do have tugboats. We have tugboats, we have cranes, we have barges, and the last barge launched is called the George David. So I was born 150 yards away from here, the Greenport Hospital, which is about 300 feet away from Hamp's Boatyard. My wife was born there. Two of my kids were born there, and here we are. We haven't gone anywhere. And besides the love of Greenport, the love of the water, the Peconic Bay, Gardiner's Bay, Fort Pond Bay, Montauk, the ocean, and the sound. What can you say about water?